Welcome back to Storytime. Let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Where we last left off, the kid's enemy, Dick Chambers, had captured them momentarily, separating the kid in his own cell and the guy and Joanna in the other. After some well-placed rolls and some flamethrowers and vents, they had taken out most of the guards inside the facility they were being kept in and went to go face Dick Chambers himself. And after cornering him in his office after he locked himself inside, they gunned him down. They left the facility and soon after Mars, after hearing word that Dr. Pierre would be at a party on Luna. And that's where we'll pick up. As I said, Firewall had informed us that Dr. Pierre would be at a party known as the Lunar Gala. Most of the people that showed up to the gala are the big brains within the science community, and Dr. Pierre had quite a few allies among them. Or at least that's what we got from Firewall and what we had pieced together from the research we were doing trying to find him. However, before we could head out, we realized that there was this glaring thing we'd glazed over after the excitement of the past day. The guy still had a contract embedded in his arm, and we kind of needed to call Smith & Western before that got out of hand. So we thought of a game plan before we decided to call them, and this idea was god-awful. For one, the kid did not want to be in on the plan at all. He did not want to be involved in the call whatsoever. Instead of joining the call, he was drawing up blueprints for a new experiment. The plan the other two were executing was Joanna was going to make herself look like the female of Smith & Western. Okay, going forward, we're going to say the female's name is Smith, and we're going to go with the big giant dude's name is Western, just to make this less confusing to tell this story. Either way, the plan is she was just going to turn into Smith and kind of just see how they react. They went into the room that had like the hologram set up for phone calls and called Smith & Western. As per the usual, they pick up instantly, the guy says hello, and they don't say anything as they're staring at Joanna, who looks like Smith. There's a long, awkward pause, and then Smith just starts to smile real big as she starts to step towards the camera. She reaches out her hand, and her hand physically comes out of the hologram and touches Joanna. The second that her hand touches Joanna, her entire morph starts to short circuit. She is racked with awful pain across her entire body as her skin flex gives out. Skin flex is the little ability thing she had that let her turn into Smith. As she goes running from the room as her non-skin flex form is being shown.
Now that the nuisance is gone, about that contract.
She says as she makes the contract appear directly in front of the guy's eyes. Not only does it appear in front of him, but an exact copy also appears directly in front of Joanna and the kid's face. The kid's heart practically fell out of his ass at seeing this contract appear in front of him. Up until this point, he thought he was untouchable. He thought he was just this little shit that could just hide on the mesh, fuck people's lives up, and nobody would come knocking. And the appearing of this contract brought that reality crashing directly at his feet. The guy, not given much choice in the matter, considering he's seen their power and she literally just reached through a fucking hologram, decides to sign the contract. The kid looks on in horror as he sees the guy's signature scrawl across the paper in front of his face. And as the guy stops writing, Joanna and the kid's name suddenly appears at the bottom of the contract as it burns up in front of him.
Now, was that so hard? As I said, you are under the terms of the contract, and we'll be in touch. You guys have a nice night.
The night went by as expected. Joanna did not leave her room once during the night. Kid was under one of the bunks in the barracks, practically inconsolable in the fetal position. And the guy was kind of just in the hologram chamber, stunned at what had just taken place. The next morning, the guy and the kid made their way in the kitchen and kind of just sat there waiting for Joanna to wake up. A strange person they've never seen just walks into the kitchen and introduces herself as Joanna. She has long black ratty hair, her skin is extremely pale, she has pretty pronounced black circles around her eyes. Originally, her player character had described her looking as, and I quote, a basic white bitch. Yeah, this is what I actually look like. My skin flex isn't really working after what happened last night. Yeah, that went a lot worse than I was originally expecting it to go.
I say we just stop talking about it. I don't even know where to begin with this situation, but we have other matters to deal with currently, since we do have to get the book from Pierre.
You do have a point. I guess we can head out now and make our way towards Luna.
I have one more thing coming in the mail, which should be here. I don't fucking know. It said it's en route.
Well, I guess we'll leave tomorrow then. For the most part, the team kind of just lazes about trying to defuse from yesterday's situation. It kind of just spends his time working on that blueprint he was working on last night. And suddenly he starts writing and he loses control of his hand and starts drawing this weird girl that he's never seen in his life. And then it gets even weirder as the hand reaches off the page and grabs him. Obviously, he freaks out and runs out into the common room where everybody else is at. He freaks out to the guy, and the guy ends up coming into the room. And as you would have guessed, the girl is gone, and now he looks like a crazy person. Maybe you should take it easy for a little bit. Last night seems to be getting to you quite a bit.
I'm telling you, she was here. There was that piece of paper right there. She was on it, and then she reached out. You know, this doesn't sound like anything a sane person would. Maybe I need a nap.
The rest of the day goes by fairly uneventful. The kid keeps working on his blueprints, occasionally checking behind his back, making sure the paper woman isn't going to sneak up on him. As night eventually falls and everybody finds their way to bed, the kid ends up staying up later than the rest of them as he's still working on his blueprints and the first component of his experiment. But he too eventually falls asleep. At some point in the night, the guy wakes up hearing somebody rustling around in the kitchen, and he messages everybody else. Nobody responds because they seem to be asleep. He sneaks his way out of the barracks and turns on his X-ray vision, and lo and behold, there is somebody who he's never seen before rustling around in the kitchen, looking through cabinets and other things in there. He activates his Densoplast glove as he slowly sneaks down the hallway, planning to ambush them in the kitchen. And as he turns the corner, ready to pounce, they're not there. Hello, he hears from behind him, and he slowly turns around, and there's just this girl, patiently sitting at the table in the common room. Next episode will be out on Monday. As always, you guys can follow me on Twitter at JarofWizard and on Tumblr at the exact same handle. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like, a comment, maybe subscribe, maybe even share it with your anime waifu. I don't know. You beautiful people have a nice day. Bye.